Hey guys, it's your girl Kizzy Rock, and yes, Kizzy Rock is my birth given name. Happy Friday, guys. I want to say hey to all my subscribers, new as well as seasoned. Got a word for you. Tap in. So, guys, I'm going to take a few different topics and kind of mesh them into one because the emails were fairly short, so my answer should be fairly short as well. But I want to kind of just mesh a few things in. So this is one of those kind of like various recordings. All right, so first, someone messaged me in regards to the community post last night about demanding your respect, and she was just saying that she's glad that I spoke up on that because many times, people who are called or chosen, or even people who are really, really, really living for God, things like that, is almost like this unspoken thing of like you just have to sit there and just tolerate people's disrespect because okay, you kill your flesh, blase blase, right? Which I agree with that, right? Meaning, listen, you just don't go back and forth with people because people are just ignorant, and with the fool you just can't get. You can sit there and try to explain yourself all day, but when their mind is already made up on something, you just can't even go back and forth with them, right? So that's how I take it, how I see it. But in regards to disrespecting me like in my face, or like I can see something and you're saying something off the wall, listen. Listen, right? Not on my watch, right? You don't have to like me for whatever reason. I now know God prepared me and equipped me for that very early on in life. So this is why I don't take certain things to heart when people don't like you for no apparent reason. Again, it's not about you, my chosen ones. People see something on you, and because they don't have that light, and truth of the matter is they could, but they just, they're going to just try to make your life a living hell. And you're going to have to be okay with that. I know some of you are struggling from your emails, like because you're just now experiencing that. Like you may have not dealt with a lot of jealousy and envy when you were younger, but now that you're living for God and you're trying to do the right thing, you're now experiencing it, and you're having this very difficult time that people don't like you, right? All I can tell you honestly is please understand, like I always say, it doesn't have anything to do with you. It really doesn't. And please, whatever you do, do not sit down. Do not allow people to move you off of where God have placed you because you now feel like, they're going to talk about you. Please, I beg you, do not leave your post. That is the whole objective of the enemy, right? So that's my stance on that. Like, no, I'm not going back and forth with you, right? Because I don't do all that ghetto hot mess, right? But I'm going to say, one time, I'm going to check you real good and classy one time. And I'm going to demand my respect, period. Because see, God will place you in positions where you can't do that, right? God will place you in positions where you don't have to worry about someone may fire you from a job because you don't go along with this or that, right? God will already have you so stabilized in certain places that you can demand your respect. You're going to respect me or X, Y, and Z, right? I'm not playing those games, period. I'm not playing those games, period. So you can say what you want to say, right? I'm going to check you one time, but if you keep on, right? Touch not my anointed. Say what you want to say, right? But don't let me see it. Not when you know I can see it. That's a problem. All right, next thing. Someone else emailed me in regards to, she was saying that she's newer in her walk. She's the chosen one, she says. She's newer in her walk, and she's struggling. She was saying that it's almost like you hear people, I guess she's relating more to like pastors or like, more spiritual people, at the top. She feels like they always talk about like, the goodness of God and blessings and all this good stuff, but it's like you rarely hear people talk about the disappointments, the delays, the heartbreaks, and how difficult the walk can be. And I think she's right. I mean, this is why I only listen to very, very, very few selective people, right? Because I like authenticity, I like realness, I like rawness. So don't be sugarcoating nothing, right? Because what's going to happen is, right, you sitting here sugarcoating, making things seem like it's all fairy tales and dandelions. And then when people like really start this walk, they're going to turn back because no one prepared them or told them about these darn delays and these, these disappointments at times, right? So she's absolutely right. But sis, I will say that yes, the promise, the destiny season, the call, whatever, it comes with a lot of disappointments. The only thing I can tell you to do if you're hitting disappointments, right? Look at God's track record. Like so like when you get like a new car, right? You think, oh, I'm never going to eat in the car. I'm never going to do this. And you're all excited. And then a year later, you don't even wash the car anymore. Or you get like a child get like a new toy and you're all excited. And then it's like you get used to it. So I think what happens is God has shown his hands so many times, mind-blowing times. And then we're like, oh my goodness, God is great. God is amazing, right? And then you get used to that thing, or he puts you on a little delay period. And now you're still feeling like God is just not answering he's not answering. He's ignoring me, and everybody else is getting blessed and I'm not getting blessed. But if you go back and you look at his track record, and I believe this may be one of the reasons why it said, the scripture, what is it? Write the vision, make it plain. Now, I don't know. Some of you guys have vision boards and things like that. So I'll just, whatever. I have my own little thing, but I don't like physically write it per se, but I do have a way that I can go back and see the way he's moved along that path. And then when you go back and look at it for you, again, if it's something, I journal a lot too. So I can go back and read my journal, right? It could be a vision board or just whatever. It could just be in your memories. I don't know. But think back on all the times that he literally has allowed something to happen that you just didn't think would ever happen. And you were so excited during that time. Keep reflecting back on those times, because that will prove to you, wow, well, he did it this time. He did it. If he did it 10 times, why wouldn't he do it this time? Right. But then it's also important to understand that each blessing or each thing that he releases to you is different. So some things may be a quick release because it's maybe not a whole lot involved, or God may just open the door to station you somewhere to assist someone, right? Okay, so that really wouldn't require a lot of delays and things like that, because he needs you to be in this person's life to help them in whatever reason, right? Okay, where it might be another situation where he's going to place you somewhere because he needs to use you as a vessel to help transform an individual. He could only transform, but as a vessel, right? Which is going to require you to have lots of patience, because you're going to want to walk away and give up, because you're just going to want to, I ain't got time for this foolishness, right? But so he has to groom you and get your patience intact, right? He got to make sure that there are certain things that you see. He's going to download certain things in the spiritual realm so you can understand, like, hey, when you get there, this is what you're going to have to fight against. This is going to come against you, right? So there's a lot of things that he has to prepare, transform, shape, and mold with this particular blessing, because this is going to have more of an impact, right? Versus you just being placed to help somebody, right? Just be there to maybe, I don't know, help someone financially, or to just pray for them for a short assignment, or get them through a quick season of whatever they got going on. But on the flip side, this is the whole blessing that's going to change the person. And then this person may have some impact and is going to change more people, right? Or maybe God have already placed other people in this person's life, and the person may have just conform to that person's lifestyle versus standing out and staying planted, so God can really move like how he needs to move, right? So he got to be sure that your flesh is in tame enough that when you get around certain type of people or certain levels, that you're not going to be all, crazy about their name and their power and their all that foolishness, right? So he got to be sure that you're transformed. So that can be taking a whole lot more time, delays, frustrations than just a simple assignment, right? Also, to the young lady who emailed me in regards to your heart is breaking from a breakup. I'm not sure if you were married or just a relationship. I'm not sure. But as I was reading through your email, this is what I got in my spirit. And remember, take the bone, spit it out, filter it out, take it, apply it, take it to God, whatever. But as I was reading your email, what came to me? It's okay. And this has happened to me before too. And this is why I can tell you about it. Okay. Sometimes when God gives us a promise, many times when God gives us a promise, the promise is so clear as day that we don't even realize it. But at some point, you're going to start idolizing that promise, right? So if that is a relationship or the breakup that you're going through, right? If you somehow intentionally or not even intentionally made this person your God, like it's almost like this person can speak into your life more than God, sometimes God will have to separate things, right? He'll separate it. And in that separation, he will increase your need for you to depend on him and for you to understand that, listen, people can be in your life, but you still have to know how to let God be first, right? I don't care how much you love somebody. I don't care how much God has spoken and said, this is that. God has to be first. Has to be first. And I think especially as women, because we're so emotionally invested in things like that, we don't even realize, because it can be very subtly that you're sitting here and you're making a man your God, or you're making a job or a thing your God, and you don't even realize it, right? So sometimes God got to shake things up to get you back planted, right? And he may bring it back. But when he bring it back again, I bet you won't you'll appreciate it, right? But you won't idolize it. And then also, like I was speaking about the other day, sometimes God will separate things to work on two people individually. Because again, sometimes we're trying to change people on our own accord, and we can't do that. We can't do that. But then that leaves us feeling all frustrated and all flustered. And then what happens? Our mind, and we're all over the place. So we can't even really be moving in purpose like how we should be, because our mind is all tied up and growing branches all over the place because we're too invested in trying to change this person. So sometimes God will require you to take your hands up off of it. He'll work on each individually separate and bring it back together. Maybe not. Who knows? That's between you and him. And lastly, someone had asked me to give an example on how does she word it? It was really good. Okay, so you hear from God, right? She said she's a visionary as well. You hear from God, or God have shown you something, but then God has not given you an okay to move your hand towards that thing, right? You see it, but there's like this delay, and even if you try, you feel a conviction, so he's telling you don't move towards it. Like, how do you deal with that, and how do you trust the process that he's shown you, but he's telling you don't move? I'll give you an example, sis, with Pastor R.C. Blakes, actually. Since you said you follow me through him, so I'll use him for an example. But you're absolutely right, because even being a visionary myself, God shows me things, and there's times where the minute he shows it to me, he'll thrust me in a certain direction to start walking towards it, right? And then I have to do this, or I have to do this, plant this, get stationed here, do this, do that. And then there's times when he's showing me things, and like he tells me, okay, I'm showing it to you, but don't move at all. Right? Then we get bored and don't move, I said, right? So that's what happened with me in my whole vision on okay. So basically, when I first saw Pastor R.C. Blakes, right, like one of his first recordings during quarantine, when I saw the video, there was a pull that I felt. Right? There's a pull. Now, remember, God doesn't always tell you what it is, right? He'll just tell you there's something about this person, that place, or that thing that I'm going to pull you towards. I'm going to use you this way, or they're going to see favor in you, right? He just gives you this inkling. But he never said what. I felt like I would be connected to him some kind of way. But it was clear as day. Don't you open your mouth. Don't you try to message him. Nothing. So I think maybe 6 months had passed. And I would just watch his recordings, right? Not even thinking about making a move to try to message him to say, hey, God says that, No. It was clear as day. Close your mouth. And when the time is right, I'll reveal you whatever. Then one day I woke up 6 months later. I never said anything. 6 months later, I woke up and I think I had over 150 subscribers overnight. But I didn't know why. I just kept thinking like, okay, Lord, I don't know what this is, right? You done drop a miracle out of the sky some kind of way. What is going on? And I mean, the notifications are constantly pinging, and I still could not understand what had happened. Did I become a celebrity overnight? Someone saw me on the news. What had happened? And then as I kept strolling, all I kept seeing was the comments. Pastor R.C. Blake sent me your channel. Oh my goodness, I love your this, I love your this, and I love your this. And I'm like, this man, in my opinion, one of the most wisest individuals that I've ever encountered, think that I'm a little bit wise to share my recording? What? Are you kidding me? So you see, it has to be God. Now you see, God told me clear as day, don't you move your hand, don't you open your mouth. Because see, let me tell you something. People like that who are connected like that, God already told them things, right? God already showed them certain things that the average person can't even see or understand. God have already downloaded it to them. So we don't have to move at certain times. Our problem is definitely me. I'm raising my hands. We don't have any patience a lot of the times. I'm getting better. So we just want to jump ahead of God. But when we jump ahead of God, we're going to mess up our own stuff because we're getting ahead of him. Now, if let's just say I got ahead of God, and now I'm sitting here messaging him and like, oh, but God says that you're going to see favor in me one day, and you're going to see that, I have a little bit of wisdom too, and da-da-da-da-da. First of all, that may have made him feel like, okay, wait a minute, right? Because I'm sure you got people thrusting themselves at him all the time, trying to sell things or trying to do this and do that and do this. And actually, he said that before. I've heard him say before in one of his recordings that he just don't subscribe to just anything, right? Meaning people are trying to get him to, I guess, like do promotions or just whatever. But he shuts it down because it just is not aligned with his spirit. So here's somebody who didn't even like message you and say, hey, can you just like check out one of my videos? I didn't do anything. But you see, God will place it in a person. And then he subscribed to my channel. And I think I just fell out the bed that day. So sis, if God is telling you, if he's shown you a vision, and if he is telling you to don't do anything, you've got to trust him. You've got to try. And I know that's hard. I promise you, because, I have a hard time. I'm so much better, but I have a hard time not getting ahead of God. But what has helped me to just chill more than ever now is because I see the outcome, right? I see the outcome because I didn't get ahead of him. I trusted him, and I see how he does move. Then I know that I can trust him to leave my hands up off of it unless I hear from him, right? Now, I heard from him to go to pastors and First Lady birthday celebration. Now, I did hear that. And then I moved. You see what I'm saying? So, but if he's telling you stay still, sis, stay still, because you're going to ruin it. Please fast. Go on a fast, if you will, or just ask God to give you strength to just trust his vision for your life, and to give you strength not to get your little pretty hands all in it. I hope this helps you guys. You guys have a great one. It's your girl, Kizzy Rock.